companies can actually have 2 or 3 different ways of finalizing on the budgets for the training. So it can be either one, that one training budget is given to the HR department or learning and development department, if that is there in the organization, for the entire organization. Or second, they can actually give department-wise training budgets. That every department, for example, if it is for sales, so then whatever trainings that sales department will have would be accounted for in this particular budget. So there is these 2 ways generally that can be done. So overall organization budget or department-wise budgets. Right? Then these department-wise budgets are also calculated in a manner by finance department that every employee's cost occurred for training is comes out easily. So that is done only for the internal purposes to see that how much cost we have incurred on every employee of ours. So that can also be done. But overall budgets are generally passed like that. So like you can see here that annual training allotment, we can write the overall budget. Then we can segregate them in 4 different quarters also. Quarter 1 will have this much, second will have this much, third will have, fourth will have this much. So total budget would be this much. Right? Then first quarter training budget would be on these areas. Courseware development, purchase, certifications, train the trainer, hardware, facility rental. Now, because many organizations may not have larger conference rooms, so depending upon the size of the people that you are planning to give training to, you might need sometimes the facilities taken on rent. Then instructional materials, which can be flip charts, can be projectors, can be anything. There are so many audio visual instruments that is used along with the training program. So that also is accounted for. Then technical equipment. So technical equipments can be, iPads you are giving to the employees, or projector you are using for the training program, or monitors you use for training program. So anything that you want to use. Consulting fees. If it's an external trainer, then their consulting fees should be there. Instructor fees. Right? So instructor is basically the facilitator, and consulting would be to the person who is subject matter expert, who is helping developing the content. There are 2 different people involved, or more than 2 people are involved. Then content acquisition. So because many material which is available on internet, on Google and other things that you search on, many material is actually copyrighted by some companies. So if you're purchasing them for them, so that's content acquisition cost is also there. So you cannot use anybody's pictures or collateral like that. Then travel, in case you're planning to have people travel over for training from other locations. Suppose your office is in Delhi, but you have people in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune. So you're calling all of them here on the head office, and then you're conducting that training program. Or if you're asking the trainer or facilitator to also travel, so all their travel costs would go into that. So per per person cost, how much it would be. Lunch, dinner, snacks, tea, coffee, water bottles, stationery, all those things that you are actually planning to do. So that's how the overall budget is actually designed. You can put as much the item that is required for the training program that is there. If there are very small items which are there, so you can either put it in miscellaneous and you can write down the cost of it. And then the budget is basically passed by the finance department. This is the one way of doing it. Yeah. So this is sample employee development plan. So this is how the entire development plan can be designed. All these things are essential to put in for the employee, their name, their title, their position code. There are so many codes that the organization has given to them. Who will be their reporter, reporting manager, who will review their thing, who will be the instructor, appraisal ka ho raha hai, appraisal nahi ho raha hai. Why we are linking it with appraisal is because it is a part of either performance improvement plan or development plan. So whatever problems that has come out in their performance management system, we are taking it as a gap between the actual needs of competency and then the gap that has come. So we're writing the training and development goals. So whatever workshops, mentoring, counseling, whatever needs to be given, you just write it in the first column. Then competency, skills to be acquired. If you are making it a specific competency-based training, so then you have to write down the name of the competencies that was missing in their performance appraisal form, and it has come out. Yeah.
Ma'am, actually
Yeah.
it's very small. It's not visible at all. Can you please elaborate it a little bit?
It's in PDF, so I can't actually zoom it. Better now? You can see it?
Yes, ma'am. Actually,
The sheet was like that.
better.
Once you
Okay.
will have this PPT with you, it would be much more better visible. Maybe it's on the platform.
Okay.
if you don't.
That's okay.
You write the competencies and skills that is required to do the training program. Then you go to the employees' action steps. What steps to be taken? That to learn this competency, these are the training that the employee has taken over. Then after the training is done, what next step that has to be done? What are the resources needed? So you will write about the money part, the time, the staff, which means the trainer who will take the training program. If it is technical training, maybe done by the reporting manager, so you will write all of it. Then time frame, when it will start and when it will be ended. It's just one way of designing employee development. You can write it for three ranges. One is short range, which is basically for first year, and you can write about mid range, that where we're talking about that, okay, in next 2 years, if the person has to grow within the organization towards their career path, what are the skills that needs to be acquired by the person, and then for the longer range, more than 3 years.
Is
This
this
is how
done
it
in
works.
all organizations? Is this done in all organizations?
So every organization design their own development plan, employee development plan.
Okay.
So there are many samples would be there in internet also, but it is always good that you create your own, so that it is much more feasible for your own needs and requirements of the organization. It is just a sample that is there. So for example, if we have to create a training program, a training plan for somebody in the organization. So what are the major things that we talked about that needs to be there? So see, these are the things that we were talking about. So whenever we have to design anything, it should be around all these topics. You have to clearly mention the need assessments that has come out of it. Wherever so because this is this particular assignment that we give to you, the need assessment need not to be done because the need assessment was already given to you. But otherwise, for example, you are going through the competency development of the entire organization. I'll show you the competency, how it is mapped. I've taken out a small sample for that also. Yeah. This is how the competency mapping is done. These are the skills or competencies that is required. So, for example, product knowledge, negotiation skills, active listening, closing techniques, post-sales management. So, these are some samples. Right? Now, in order to give them importance, that for this job to do in the organization, from you what is the importance of these skills and competencies needs to be there. So for example, product knowledge, because obviously it's about marketing or sales. So product knowledge has to be high. So we are saying it has to be high. Negotiations again high because it's sales and marketing function. Active listening, moderate can also go. Closing techniques again high, and post-sale management again high. So depending upon the role that one has to undergo into the organization, we can also give the importance to them. Then comes the skill level required, which is like an ideal situation that needs to be there for the organization. That's why 554, because moderator is 4 area, there's two other also 5. Now the current skill level of a person is he or she is at 3, 3, 2, 4, 2. So that means there is a gap which exists, right? So this competency mapping for these 5 competencies has shown us that this particular employee for which this exercise we have done, he or she needs a lot of trainings on these 5 things. So then you design your training program. So your objective or your assessment has come out of it. This is how your need assessment is done. So now you will organize a product knowledge training for the entire organization. Now product knowledge training for entire organization means it should be attended by largely by sales and marketing people, people who will work in supply chain, people who work in logistics. So people who are actually directly linked with creating the product or selling the product out in the market, it is really mandatory for them to have this training program. Negotiation skills again, because you are saying for this particular employee, their negotiation skill is 3. Right? So now you will write your objectives in a manner that from 3 to 5, what are the gaps you can actually fill. So in negotiation skills, what exactly you want to provide to the employee, right? So it can be, maybe a little more persuasiveness, follow up with the client. Second is to close on to all the sales calls that he or she has opened. Third is to actually be able to talk much more about convincing the customer about the product and services that you're about to sell. So your objective should clearly clarify that why these negotiation skills has to be given to the employer. So once this exercise is done, on the basis of this particular exercise, you come to this particular slide, right? So your need assessment is done individual wise, because this is we are talking about individual competency mapping. Learning objectives you are giving. So whatever competencies you are putting in your training program, so all these 5